I'm Megan Van Petten, founder of the Esports Trade Association and host of the Esports Connected podcast. I am inspired to share key tidbits from several interviews conducted with industry influencers over the 3-day span of our EsportsNext conference. To be able to celebrate and learn from those who are shaping our community is such an honor. Press play and let the waterfall of knowledge wash over you as it did for me. Enjoy. Welcome to the Esports Trade Association, our show Esports Connected. I am still your host, Megan Van Petten, and I am so excited to have Anthony on the show today. Anthony, thank you. Thanks for making it all the way out to Chicago.
I did. I came all the way out from New Jersey. It was almost 2-hour flight.
Wow.
That's a lot to ask for
But
somebody.
still, it really...
It's a great city. It's a beautiful city. The weather last night was perfect, and unfortunately I missed the baseball game, but I heard it was a good thing. I missed it. I heard it wasn't that...
1 point.
Cubs did not do well.
1 point, yeah.
I think it's called a run.
1 run.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited about the opportunities that the Esports Trade Association brings. I don't think I've ever been to an esports summit of any kind because a lot of times people just talk, and I can do that at home. I want to find people that can help solve solutions, and this is the first group that I think that is serious about doing that.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, you really have a great helicopter view of what we're doing, and we are so grateful for that. If you want to talk a little bit about what you see, that would be.
Well, I was just telling the story earlier, and my wife gets bored when I tell the same story, but I owned a company in Korea, and about a little longer than I care to admit. I was in Korea in 2008, and there was a commotion. You always know when there's a celebrity around, and I said, "What's going on over there?" It's like, "Well, that's a famous StarCraft player." And I said, "StarCraft, the video game StarCraft?" It's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "So did he kill somebody? Like, what's going on?" It's like, "No, he's just a really famous StarCraft player." I said, "People are famous for playing video games here?" And it was something I wasn't used to that idea. So as I worked more in Korea, you realize that Korea's national pastime is video games. Mm-hmm. This is what they do.
Yeah.
So more than soccer, more than baseball, more than anything else, they're a connected society. They have a lot of cafes and what they call e-cafes, and 3 channels at the time that just covered people playing video games. And I thought, this is something I want to do. So I worked at the time for Nexon, which is one of the largest companies there. And one of the things that I learned was, in Korea, when Nexon released a game, it's a lot like Mario Kart. It's called Kart Rider. And on the day that they released it, which was usually a Monday, they would release codes to 7-Eleven that kids can go and buy and get free cars and get celebrity, special cars that they couldn't buy off the game. And that so many people would leave schools to go to 7-Eleven that they would actually close the schools, and it became sort of like a neo-holiday. So the schools have to work with Nexon and say, "Hey, this is kind of nutty. Can you release it on a Sunday?
Yes.
Can you release it can you at least coordinate with us what's going on?" And that's where I think the United States is going. Mm-hmm. Now, South Korea, Seoul, has the benefit of it's essentially a country that's a city. I don't know if it's the world's biggest city, but it feels like it is. You can drive in Seoul for an hour going 60 miles an hour, and you're still in the city zone. It's that big. But it shows you where things are coming here. So there are some disadvantages here. The cities are further apart. Mm-hmm. Every city is its own government and may be very different from the other government. The political parties don't agree on a lot of stuff, as you know. So what interested me coming here was, here's the group that's trying to put it all together. Mm-hmm. In the same way that the Entertainment Software Association backs up the video game publishers.
That's right.
When they need, regulatory help, or when they need to solve an issue that encompasses all those publishers. This is where I think the Esports Trade Association has a really, really positive role moving forward.
That's right. Yeah. You've had great insight, and we really so appreciate that you understand the vision and the mission. So it's been a pleasure to have you. Tell us a little bit about how you got here.
Well, I got on a plane, right? So I parked my car in level 2. I think it was level 2. No, I've done a lot of different things. So my career started out as a toy designer for Hasbro. And then as part of that, I joined, I did the first television show made in computer graphics, a show called Reboot. So I was the art director for that studio in Vancouver. And then I realized I really enjoy working on ideas more than places. Like I've had a couple of companies that were acquired by other companies, like Disney Interactive bought my company, and I work with Comcast and Microsoft, and I always found it that I like working for myself better because I'm at the, I guess, like business development. I come up with the ideas, and then we find the funding and find the people and execute on it.
That's right.
I used to develop television shows, so we had a couple of them won Emmy-Award, a lot of them won Emmy-Awards, and then we just keep doing something different because that's the challenge, right? We got into esports when we went to Korea, in South Korea, and I mentioned that incident that we had. It really woke me up to the possibilities of connecting people. Because one of the things that I think we need to do as a society, as we get these digital tools and everyone's staring at the phone all the time,
right,
is how do we then create something that connects people on a personal level? And if you go to Korea, I always say Korea, but it's South Korea. If you go to South Korea, everyone is so focused on being a part of this thing that it just felt nice. Like Christmas and Thanksgiving, everybody feels like I'm part of this thing.
That's right.
And that's why I want esports to succeed, is because it gives people meaning. So during COVID, when all the kids were home, both of my kids joined an esports team that was run by Chris Aviles and Garden State Esports. It's a great organization in New Jersey. He's fantastic.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it gave them meaning. Like now these kids are part of it. They can't see their friends, but every day they're practicing with 15, 20 of their teammates, and they're playing against other people, and they're meeting other teams playing other places. And it brought us meaning at a time that the alternative was pretty horrible. You can't see your friends, and you can't go out, and you can't do anything, even if you could go out. But here's something that gave competition spirit, camaraderie, and focus. So that's what we're trying to do. So when we created Conference One, it was to the Collegiate Esports League. It was to give focus and really raise the level on collegiate esports, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now there are some people that have done some great things, like Rob Johnson, the Collegiate Star League.
Yes.
My friend Matt Jackson is one of my favorite people in all of esports. He's done a lot of collegiate events that have done really well. What we were trying to do and what we're establishing now is, so how do we create that? We don't want to be the authority. We just want to do. A lot of schools spend a lot of money to create the teams, and Rutgers spent a lot of money to create an esports room. And so how do we give all that stuff purpose?
Right.
How do we make sure that all that stuff isn't for nothing?
Exactly.
Right. So this year we're very excited to bring Sports Illustrated as a partner to Conference One, and what that means is now you're going to play an esport game, and your stats are going to be on SportsIllustrated.com. Right, your game didn't just happen in a void. We're going to broadcast it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to interview people on Sports Illustrated Radio, and now that starts to create the infrastructure that I think that we're going to see to build this stuff out for real.
That's right. And you say, build the stuff out for real. I love when you say that, being that I've been part of the fantasy sports, and watching that.
Which is an amazing thing. I can't believe you did that. That's a huge lift.
So, when you hear things like, this is what we're starting for real, it is for real.
It is for real.
Being on the ground floor to this sort of innovation is so exciting. And it takes something for you to just wake up with fresh enthusiasm every morning and take on these visions. Because, an idea is one thing. And that was us 5 years ago. This canvas right here was empty, and we had a bunch of markers, and we had 25 people in the room, and we were like, all right, man, we got to bring this association together with purpose. We've got to create our vision and mission. And by the way, it changes constantly. We pivot. Just, every meeting we have, we read the purpose of our existence. And, and we, every meeting. And it is so important. So I totally get it when you say, bringing it.
Well, it's funny because, this morning, because people forget I'm in Chicago, I get a phone call at 5:45. Hey, this is a problem. I'm like, oh my God, you know what time it is? I just, So every day you have those challenges, and sometimes they can really affect you. It's hard to keep reinventing yourself every day, and if you focus on the negatives, it'll derail you. You gotta, what's my goal? What's my goal? What's my goal? But in this space, as we're saying, keep making it real. So I have, technically, I guess they're competitors. So in the collegiate esports scene, we have CSL, Rob, and we have Matt. And all of us have agreed, we're going to work together. We may be rivals. We may actually be big rivals down the road. But if we don't work together now, we're not going to lift this thing.
That's right.
And then even in we're not going to talk about it today, but in the wagering space, Esports Entertainment Group and us have to work together to create the legislation, to create the rules and compliances to lift that space, which we can talk about some other time, because if we all go at it differently, it's too heavy a lift for one group.
Yes, it is.
That's why I love the Esports Trade Association.
And that's why, we have formed things that are really interesting infrastructures. So for starters, we have the board, and we rotate that yearly. But one of the things that we've started that we're doing quarterly is our roundtable. And we are bringing together the biggest players in the space. And we had our very first roundtable Monday. And we will be doing that each quarter. So that should be, something that you may want to consider sitting in on. Because what the roundtable is, that I appreciate, is it's sort of where the board can take those ideas and execute through the committees and then through the members. It's just this infrastructure that really, with really great shoulders, because not everybody can be serving every month on the board or, always be in rotation. So that, we may want to talk about that as we're forming the roundtable infrastructure quarterly.
Any group that creates solutions is what I'm after. So the American Heart Association about 3 years ago had an issue. Their issue was Play 60 is not as effective as it used to be because kids are playing inside, and football, the kids don't follow traditional sports as much as they used to. Like my kids have no idea any player in any league other than Nick Foles, who won the Super Bowl for the Eagles, but that's it. Like they know one guy, right? They don't, and they're 14. They're twins. So the American Heart Association was looking for, how do we engage with kids and teenagers to make sure that our foundation and our mission gets accomplished? So we had a roundtable, and they had Apple, they had Microsoft, for some reason they invited me. They had all these other groups, and we came up with a solution which just launched recently called Revive, and that's the way you do it. You bring in all these people that can solve issues, and look at it from the point of view of someone that's trying to solve a problem but doesn't have the resources. Let's just, hypothetical, I'm here in this small city, I want to accomplish this, but I need this group, that group, this group, or someone that can do that. I can't afford these people.
That's right.
Is there anyone that could help me solve these problems? Is there anyone that could connect me?
That's right.
Because otherwise I'm going to be just randomly calling people, and no one wants to take... How many unsolicited emails have you gotten on LinkedIn?
Oh my gosh.
Every day.
Well, I mean, just today. And it's distracting because there's people that are really wanting to connect with me, so I'm just archive. Right. Yeah, so, we are here to provide that framework, and we value the talent we have in the room and the time and, what what your time means to you. So we really take a lot of pride in coordinating the people that want to be here to make a difference, to come up with solutions, and to make it worth your while, and then to take that forward efficiently and effectively and collaboratively.
And I think that's the focus that makes people want to come.
It is.
Be a member. I have problems. Can you help me solve it?
100%. And that, that's where 20 years of me being in association management has really served. Because for 20 years I've been making people like you, making your job easy to come here and help a whole community.
Well, I appreciate that.
And
I need this. I need this as much as we have not 27 people, but it's not enough. You have other problems to deal with.
Right.
You don't have anybody that can deal with it or has the expertise or has the connections or whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, We thank you for just coming in a pandemic to Chicago.
It has been.
I mean, it's been tough, and that's why we put a lot of thought into the program. And 4 days was a long program. When we had the mayor's office here this morning, they said 4 days.
No one has said anything but positive, and it's crazy because I've been to places where it's a little long.
Sure. Nobody
has said anything negative.
Well, thanks for saying that. You know what we did is we broke it up into time slots. Half day, morning, night, just so people could really enjoy the city, get familiar with the city, because we will be here every year.
That's great.
So we have
really exciting, actually.
August 22nd to 25th in 2022. Wow. Save the date. Morgan Stanley is presenting again, and we think we're going to need a bigger boat, so we'll start our hotel search. We've already outgrown our first venue. And so we're looking at, maybe the McCormick Place.
McCormick Place is biggest venue in the world.
So and
Navy Pier's nice too.
Navy Pier's great. So we're gonna be the association is gonna be setting sail to look at where we'll hold our next event, but it will be here in Chicago, August 22nd through 25th, presented by Morgan Stanley.
The guy that was here.
Yes.
For the Chicago, Kyle?
Yes.
You should talk to him and see if he can help sponsor it.
That's right. They are.
They're going to in Chicago.
You know what they're going to help us do? They're going to help us bring some talent in that hasn't made it to this show. Yes. So Kyle was here and his boss was here.
Right.
It was just they're very grateful. They were the ones that said, "How did you guys do this for 4 days?" Because we're on day 4.
And this is hard.
You know what? But I was like, I want everyone to see Chicago. It's just one of the greatest cities in the world.
It is. And one of the first things I got from you guys was the baseball game.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I thought was, that's kind of neat. Because I don't have to go and become a tourist in a city that I don't know anything about. I mean, it's just a very neat way to kind of holistically encompass the whole experience.
Wasn't it? I mean, first off, Wrigleyville. I mean, it's just nostalgic. I mean,
it's gorgeous.
Love it or not, you got to see Wrigleyville. Yeah. Love the Cubs or not, it's
the bars,
so
the people, the fun,
the energy,
the stadium.
It's just so.
Because it's 100 and something years old, but it looks like it was built yesterday because they keep renovating it.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. So We'll see what happens next year, but definitely save the date. I know you'll be here.
I will be here.
I know, and it's just been an absolute honor. It's interesting. I have had a lot of people on the show for the last couple of days, and one of the things most have said is stay in your lane, find what you're good at, and keep doing it. And it sounds like you've, share that same advice, just staying in your brilliance. I know you want to do something with our event. And I can't wait to hear what your lane will be.
It's finding solutions. I mean, I think that's the issue that we all have is so many of the esports summits are, and they have value with mixers and people talking about topics that you kind of already know. So there's no value in me going.
Right.
And they're not cheap to fly to a city or go somewhere and essentially waste time. So if we're going to go somewhere, I want that time to be effective, and I want to come out with something they didn't have going in. This is not a Star Wars celebration, which I go to every time they hold it. It's not a pageant. This is a group trying to establish an industry.
That's right.
That has some significant issues that we have not yet solved. And I mentioned in the panel, the biggest issue we have to solve, all of us together, is creating the motivation for people to leave their homes and go out to do something. And if we do that independently, we're not going to succeed. We have to come up with the messaging, come up with the strategy, and all of us execute on it.
That's right. Educate and motivate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for
coming. Thank you for being with us. Another great show, and we'll be back. I'm Megan Van Petten. I'm still your host, and we'll see you soon.